All right, everybody, welcome back into another edition of the SEC Powers Hour. That SEC Football Powers Hour, where me, myself, and I bring you picks every week from all the SEC games going around the league. But I'm not alone. I have my brother Joe with me. Joe, how are you doing this evening?
Man, I'm good. If I were any better, I'd be you.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Well, then I know that we're doing all right. I had a good afternoon, man. We took an opportunity to run over to the softball field. Took my girls over there. They got to see a little softball action. Got to go out on the field with the players for a little bit. That was pretty cool. So we've had a good afternoon. So can't complain. Yeah, not too hot, not too sunny. We had a good time. Got me in the right headspace, though, because as I was sitting out there, amongst the fresh smelling grass and the wonderful breezes of being at a live sporting event, all I could do, because my girls weren't playing, was let my mind wander. And the thing I was wandering toward was this weekend's football games. And let me tell you, there's some pretty interesting ones out there, right? Not just inside the league, but there are some like mega games for how the season's going to play out, taking place around the country. So I don't know. We'll get into all that in a second, though. So how are you, man? I mean, what did you think of this last weekend of football that we saw?
Well, I'm glad that I stayed up to watch the Colorado game. I'll tell you that. I was texting with Rob and Ben, my partners on the show, and I was like, man, this game's a riot. Mm-hmm. It might end in a riot.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty good football game, too. And it was something else. There was some real high energy there to start that game off. And I thought I was going to get the dub with the Bulls down there in South Florida.
Yeah.
I thought Mother God's earth with the wind and rain and everything was going to help me get the dub there. But somebody called a weather delay and let Alabama get back in the ballgame. The other Florida Gators, though, got it done. So it was an interesting week.
Oh, man, there's a lot of good games and a lot of things. You were right. And now I'm hearing more and more people around the country come on board with the Joe Show because they're like, this season looks like it's going to be a little crazy. And I'm like, I know a guy who said that about 3 weeks ago. So, hey, Mike Free's in here from Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, everybody. Welcome in, Mike. It's good to see you, man. Go Dogs. We're going to have a good time. Thanks for being here with us. And as I look around, I see our friend Harry's back in here with us. What's up, Harry? Scotty's hanging out tonight. These guys are great. They support the channel. They support the shows. That's why we do this, because we're having a good time. We're going to talk some football, y'all. And as always, as we go through these games, y'all feel free. Put your thoughts in the chat. We'll bring them on the screen. Make your picks as we go, all that kind of good stuff. When I was writing up the pages, like the thoughts for this show, like back over the weekend after the games took place on Saturday, let me just cheat. I'm gonna read from the eye powers here, and I'm gonna let you know that here's what I put. I said Alabama's bad, Volunteers may be worse, and Georgia's still king, right? So there you go. I mean, and we're going to touch on everything. Florida, like, I don't know that they extinguished their dumpster fire, but they appear to have lit one on Rocky Top. Like, Vol Nation's crazy. I was saying it before the season. I'm like, if Tennessee loses that game, look out on Rocky Top. It's going to be a wild ride. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. Missouri, what about my boy Mavis?
61 yards.
I know.
Do it, buddy.
His coach tried his best. See, I'm still unsure. I know that it was a national embarrassment and everybody's all over
terrible.
Drake. I know, I get it. But I'm like, maybe he's playing like three-dimensional chess and just wanted to make his boy look good because he knew he could drill it from 65. What about that? No? Okay. No. Either way.
You know how I feel about Missouri. You know how I feel about Missouri.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just giving him credit for making the kick, but I was like, this is why I don't like Missouri. This is why.
He crushed it, dog. He could have. I mean, it was good from 66, maybe 68, and that was on a wet field. I mean,
he kicked it like he had a square toe.
Oh man, that was awesome. I enjoyed it. I was happy for him. Yeah. But that also you can't help but think about that moment. And now that Missouri has the flagship win out of conference for the SEC this year, I mean, golly, I don't even know what that says. It's not. I mean, we've touched on this before, but. And now they turn around, and if they go out and don't handle business moving forward, what good was that? Like if they go out this weekend and lose to Memphis, what does that say about what they just did to Kansas State? Like,
look, they can always just turn around and go, but what about Vandy?
Yeah. That's true. They can always do Clark Lee. So. Thank you for that. Thank you for going out to UNLV and having that not go the way it was supposed to. I'm a man of my word, Clark Lee. I told you, we're done. You went out there, man, we're done. Y'all know who I'm picking. Whoever Vanderbilt's playing the rest of this year, I'm picking the other way. And if I take the L, that's fine. You know, maybe it won't cost me the championship, but we'll see. Golly, man, Vanderbilt. So that's the past weekend. And the Dogs in the second half remembered who exactly they are, went out there, got their ducks in a row, handled some business. Oh, I'm happy to see the chats lighting up. Our friend Wes from the Wayback Machine. Wes Kennedy, what's up, friend? It's good to see you.
What's up, Wes?
Look at that. Now we're going on. Let's see, who's in here with us? Jason Evans saying hello tonight. What's up? Jeremy Corley's in here with us. How about him? That's what I say to that. And let's see, what do we got? Oh, see, Harry's bringing us back on board. He's like, tell me about Missouri's quarterback. He's questionable. Dude was out there on one leg, and everybody kept talking about Cook and exactly how he was going to do, how that offense was going to come together. I'm just saying, I'm standing by my whole Missouri fourth in the East thing. And if these other teams don't get their stuff in a row, like, they could do better than that. So I'm not selling on Missouri just yet. I'm gonna hold what I got right now.
You keep holding. You just keep holding.
Somebody's got to. Well, we'll see how it goes. Jeremy's chiming in here. Joe, did you catch the SEC Inside this week? They were focused on the Georgia-South Carolina game. Did you see that insight? Because it was on social media too. Did you see what happened at the half?
Maybe. I don't know.
He's not sure. Hey,
refresh my drink.
Everybody was talking about how Georgia, didn't play well in the first half, and man, I bet Kirby was all just blazing a blue streak in the locker room. That's not what went down at all. And to make this whole thing even better, Kirby told the nation when he came out for the second half, he's like, we were chill. We just went in there. We talked to each other. And then to prove that, SEC Inside on the SEC network, they had the whole thing on tape. They, the players were just sitting there talking to each other. Coaches were like, here's what we're going to do. This is how we handle our business. Man, I was like, that's what I'm talking about. Get out there. You don't always have to use a hammer. You know what I mean? You got to know how to talk to your team. And that is a good thing, I think.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to use the old satin glove there,
Well, it's not like what he was saying wasn't the truth. You step out there and you're like, look, we know what we're doing. Like, just execute. And how about that Dogcast? That's what this whole podcast is about this week. This is not Xbox, right? You can't take the player slider and push it over to 99 and just be the same team year after year after year. That doesn't mean that this team's a bad team. It means it's a different team. It's not the same team as the last 2 years. And they're growing and learning, and that's what you want from any good football team, because the team that's going to be competitive come November is the team that is still improving, is still working hard, still learning, still growing. And that's what we see with this team. So that's my little 2 cents on the Bulldogs right now. But I'm just saying that the same thing goes for every team, right? You have to grow, learn, figure out who you are. Hopefully you're playing your best football at the end of the year.
Yeah, and the thing I'll give Kirby credit for in that, and I did not see it, by the way, the thing I'll give him credit for is you can't always be at 12, right? You can't stay at 12 because you get desensitized to 12 at some point. So he's getting his team back down there, and so he can come back up when he needs to. And that's, it's a good son of a leader.
I agree. And here's our boy Wes. He's like, my son's at UGA. Go Dogs. Good choice. Smart young man. But he'll be Roll Tide till the day he dies. That's fair. That's fine. You have your allegiances. We don't, this is a fun SEC safe space. Now, this is a Dogs channel. But around here, we're talking SEC. So, we'd let you stick around anyway, Wes. You know how that is. You could hang out with us, brother. No problem. Jason's in here with us. He loved the halftime speech. He's like, that's right, man. It's like you said, if you're always yelling at somebody, you're a fastball pitcher all the time, you're going to, it's not going to work. You got to have something to change it up a little bit and let them know what's going on. Sorry, I got lost in the chat here for a second. Sorry about that. Yeah. So let's see. What's Gators got to say? Vols have always been bad and will be bad for a long time. What's shocking is that they actually thought they were good. See, this is some SEC stuff. This is what I'm talking about. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. So before we move on, Joe, completely to anything else, I don't know. Any final thoughts on this past weekend before we crack open a new pack of games for this new weekend?
Let's see here. I can't really think of anything else that was shocking to me that I saw or engaged with. I just can't tell you how much as I was watching the ticker and talking about Bama West, as much as I was watching that game, I was like, oh, come on, South Florida. Come on. Give me the dub right there.
Oh,
I seriously thought I had that one in the bag. I did.
Oh, now see, I got to take a second before we get into the new stuff right here. I got to recognize our buddies, Herb and Rod. He's checking in. Man, listen, I'm just calling it like I see it, and I know that you're a rational Alabama fan. You can't tell me that you're happy with what you saw last week in Tampa. Now, I have a lot of thoughts about Alabama, and as we get into these games, you'll hear what I have to say about it. But
let me just tell you for
don't
my
cry,
boy there,
friend, don't cry.
Herb and Raj, I'm just going to say, I said it last week. Quarterback problem. Going to play several, and I did hear one take, and I don't remember honestly who it was or what channel it was on, but they were like, well, why didn't they put Milrose back in South Florida? And so, well, they know what they have in Milrose.
Yeah, they
really needed to see the other two guys play to figure out, kind of what they're going to do moving forward. And I was like, I see that.
Yeah,
but that was really the only take that I heard from that game that made any sense to me. Because everything else that happened with Alabama is exactly what I thought was going to happen, what I said was going to happen. So,
well, like I said, I have a lot of thoughts about that game, some of these other teams. But he's like, man, I'm just trying to keep my happiness to Saturdays. Come on, see, this is the happy space. Come on, you're all right in here. Safe space. But that's all right. We will make sure that we talk about that. We will give it its fair due. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and start picking some games, man. Let's get in here. Let's see what's shaking this week. What's on the docket this week? Now, this is exciting. And I say it's exciting because I'm starting to look down the schedule and I'm seeing SEC games, SEC teams squaring off against SEC teams. We're not messing around so much with the out-of-conference anymore. These are the games that we know and love and we're familiar with. Now, this first one's a bit of a doozy. It's a sneaky doozy, right? Because you've got Auburn and Texas A&M. Listen, I think you could look at either one of these two teams, either one of them, and if you ask their fan bases and they're being serious, they're going to tell you, I have no idea who my football team is. None. I mean, Auburn, they beat California on the road. They've kicked around a couple of cans of corn, but even with that, the quarterback play still not great. And if you look, if you look over at Texas A&M, they went on the road, lost to Miami. We still don't know what kind of Miami team that is, in front of a half-empty stadium, then came home and beat up a tomato can, and we don't have any idea who they are either. So I know that the roster says they're supposed to be good, but right now, who are these teams, Joe? What do you think?
I actually text my boy Andrew Monaco, who's the voice of the Aggies,
name dropper,
this week. I was talking to him about it, and I'm going to go with the Aggies this year. I'm going to go with the Aggies over Auburn. I mean, I think that the team they're going to get there, and I believe what Andrew told me. So I can't share that confidential conversation at this point, but I will say I'm still on the Aggies, and I'm going to go with them here.
Okay, you're still going to ride that horse. Herb's telling us outside of Georgia and LSU, does anybody in the SEC know what they have? I don't know. That's a fair question. And at this point, I mean, I even think that LSU and Georgia, they both still have questions as well. I mean, we might have a better idea of who we are and who we're trying to be, but there's still questions there. There's no doubt about it. Harry's on the Aggies with you, Joe. He's laying the 6.5. We're picking them straight up, y'all. In case you forgot, that's how we do it, straight up, because we're just brothers. I'm not a betting man, and it's the journalist in me, right? I can't. It doesn't fit me. But we're picking them straight up. Harry's on the Aggies too.
I want to answer this question. A team, who in the SEC knows who they are. Kentucky knows who they are, and South Carolina knows who they are. So,
well, okay.
I'll say that.
Okay. Well, that's fair. I mean, I think South Carolina's figuring it out. They know that they don't have the most talented roster, but they know who they identify.
They know what they got. Yeah, I mean, they got Rattler back there. He played a good game, and they just run out of depth, I think is what happened to them. They just got tired.
Yeah, at the end of the day. Well, and again, it's like I said in the podcast, I think it comes back to execution. At the end of the day, that's what it's players, not plays. So they figured that part out. Here, Justin's like the Aggies should take care of Auburn. And that's a take I could probably get by with. If they were doing what they're supposed to do on offense, I would probably back that take right there. Herb says he's going with the Aggies. Friends don't let friends pick Auburn. That's what I'm saying. We don't care for Auburn. We don't care for Auburn. So that one is that. And who else is in here? Let's see. What else we got? Oh, he's chiming in on the Dogs. George's question, who we're playing. See, I didn't say that. See, I can't let myself even say that. That's, but I appreciate the vote of confidence right there. That's good stuff. Oh, that's right, Wes. They came out after halftime like a different team. That's exactly right. And while they're in here, and I want to make sure I toss the roses to them, Herb and Rob, if y'all want some level-headed Alabama talk, some perspective from the western side of the conference before we all jump into the pool together, make sure you go check out Herb and Rob and their podcast. They do a good job over there. They have a good time. They've been gracious to me. And they do want to talk about the Tide, but, that's their squad. So freedom to do that. But they'll welcome you in with open arms. So check them out if you haven't, because that's a good spot to visit. Let's see here. All right. So, sorry. Let's get back to these games. Auburn and Texas A&M. You say you were on Texas A&M.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I think I'm with you, because I watched that Auburn team go to California. And I just saw how, Coach Freeze says they may have improved their roster. That doesn't mean that they can be competitive against these teams. I'm just going to agree with him. I think he's right. I think Texas A&M is just, I'm not saying it's going to be like some kind of blowout or great performance by them or anything, but I am saying that I do think they have enough to take care of Auburn. If nothing else, it might come back to just the lines of scrimmage and getting pressure on that quarterback at Auburn and stuff like that. So I'm on Texas A&M on that one too. And let's just, like I said about Tennessee and Florida before the season, if Jimbo loses this football game, it has the potential to get real expensive out there at Texas A&M pretty soon. And I'll just leave it at that. This is not a game he can go lose. He needs to win this game. Right. At some point, if you're Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher, you have to consistently beat the teams you have a better roster than, and then you have to beat the teams that you're competing with the Division IV. Right. And this is a year, sorry, Herb and Raj, cover your ears, that they should be able to have a fair shot against Alabama. Right. So LSU, different story. We'll see. But they have to be able to take care of the teams they're supposed to take care of. So I'm on Texas A&M with you. Now, this next game, there's not a lot of drama right here, because y'all know how I'm going to pick it. I'm just going to tell you right now, Clark Lee, I'm never picking your Vanderbilt Commodores again this season. It's not going to happen. I'm on the Kentucky Wildcats. Eli Roth and Stoops, they're going to punch you in the face. They're going to get revenge for what you did to them last year. It's Kentucky Wildcats all day. Joe.
Yeah. It's Kentucky. You can move on. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Man, I'm telling you, Vandy, see, we tried, Vandy. We tried to give you like some room, some footing. You just threw it right at us. So there you go. We're out of here.
I laughed hard and out loud when I saw Vandy lose to UNLV, because I thought about this show and I was like, I can't wait to hear that come up this week. It was terrible. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Oh, hurt my feelings, man. Just because I want to believe. I want them to be good, or at least competitive. You can't go out there and lose to UNLV. Cannot happen. So, Vandy, we're done. We're done. Maybe next year. Send me some flowers or something. All right. Ole Miss and Alabama. Inside the conference, we're not waiting these games to save a big one for the end. We're going to jump right into it. Now, I've gone back and forth like a bunch just today about this game. So, I don't know. All right. You want me to get on my soapbox and let you have it all before you make your pick? Because I've got some stuff to say.
Sure, why not?
All right, so here's
the brown water here. We're good to go.
Attaboy.
Have at it.
Attaboy. All right, so here's the thing. Alabama Listen, if I'm Nick Saban, I'm giving so much deference to the superstructure of Alabama. I picked him in the preseason because I believe in Nick Saban and what he's built over there. However, I think you're a fool if you get into the season, you've got some stuff to look at, right? And you can now make a choice about based on data that you've actually seen. That offensive line, I don't care how big you are. They look like their feet are in concrete, right? They look slow. They don't look physical. Quarterback obviously is a mess, and we haven't seen that they have any real playmakers on the outside. If I'm looking at that Alabama team, I'm feeling like I've been lied to for like this entire offseason because the roster tells me one thing, the coaching track record tells me one thing, and then I know what I'm seeing. So the whole thing about what happened at South Florida and we're going to play these quarterbacks and figure out who they are, knowing what we have in Milroe, I mean, okay, I guess that holds some water. How did Nick Saban not know this before the season? How did Nick Saban, who hired a new offensive coordinator, not look at it and go, we aren't good at this, we're going to do that? You know what I mean? With all that said, if you're Nick Saban, surely, now that he's named Milroe as the guy, they're going to turn this offense into something that looks like Tebow's Florida. They're going to have 15 to 20 designed quarterback runs every game. They're going to try to win football games 20-14. That's who Alabama is right now. That's what they've shown us. Maybe if that offensive line can do anything, that's what they're capable of. 9 wins, maybe 10. If you haven't done that this week, Nick Saban, what in the hell are you doing? That's the only option.
Yeah.
I see no other solution. As for Mississippi, I don't know what Lane Kiffin's doing other than being trolling Lane, right? He's out there saying Alabama's defensive coordinator's not even calling plays anymore. They're out there beating teams. You know, that Tulane win looked pretty good. Jackson Dart looks pretty good. But even your starting quarterback is like, half our team's still learning the plays because we're all transfers. Like, they're all mercenaries. They don't know what they're doing. They're figuring it out. I don't even know what to make of them right now. Honestly, my first thought this morning when I woke up was Lane's been talking a bunch of junk. He's going to roll into Alabama and get smacked just like he's done the last 3 times he's played Alabama after he spent his week talking junk. And then I thought about what was up with Milroe, and I remembered that offensive line looked like hot garbage. And I'm like, wait a minute, they can't block anybody. So Lane's going to outscore them. I've gone back and forth all day about who I was going to pick in this game. They both are frustrating the fool out of me. I'm not a fool, though. And I'm still going to take Alabama this week. I'm still going to take Alabama. I'm going to give Nick one more shot. You got one shot, Nick. If I don't see Milroe rush for 100 yards this week, if I don't see you changing the game plan, then I might have to cut you loose too, Todd. That's just how it is. But for this week, I depend more on what I know more about, which is Alabama, than Ole Miss. I'm on the Elephants, Joe. Sorry, that took forever. I'm on the Elephants.
All right. Well, you can be on the Elephants. I'm going to be on the old Blue Pants. But I do think Milroe is going to score 3. He's going to get 3 with his legs. And I think that it's going to be just Alabama's ability to, outscore Alabama. Ole Miss's ability to outscore Alabama. That's going to give them the win.
That's funny, Herman Rod. He missed my whole.
You missed the 10-minute rant when you come back for the.
Watch it on the replay. Sorry.
Yeah, he picked Bama, but I picked Blue Pants, and I'm just telling you, Milroe's going to get 3 with his legs, buddy. I think Lane Kiffin's actually going to get the opportunity to talk smack and get the win this year. I don't think Ole Miss is going to be able to tackle a soul, and that's why I think Milroe's going to get 3. But I think they do have the opportunity to score, and they will beat Alabama in Bama.
So. Okay. I mean, like I said, it's just about who do I know less about, and right now, I just think I mean, I know Jackson Dart's been running the ball well. I know Judkins is still a weapon. Yeah. I get it, but I have a little faith in the Alabama defense. They looked okay on defense. So
I'm just going to tell you this too. You see the line right there, 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
I know we're picking them straight up, but I'm going to tell you, if you take Bama and give 6.5, you're going to lose.
There you go, betting people. There you go, betting people. Joe's like, this is going to be tight.
Yeah,
tight.
It's going to be close, but Ole Miss is going to get the dub. So.
See, that was my best Lee Corso. See, had you over here, and then I came over here. See how that went? So that's okay. We'll let that go. So I'm on Alabama. Joe's on Mississippi. We'll see how it goes. It should be a fun game to watch. I got the prime slot right there in the middle of the afternoon. That'll be the perfect tee up for my dogs who play later in the day. So there we go. Okay, now to the inflamed, floating flotilla that is the Vol Navy after trying to come home from the swamp after disaster. Took the loss. Now they got to play the Roadrunners. The Roadrunners are not an awful team. Tennessee should beat the Roadrunners. I think Tennessee will. I'm on the Volunteers, but it's going to be closer than people might think. So, what's the line here? I don't even know.
21.5.
Oh, Lordy. Okay, it'll be closer than that. So I would take the points if I were a betting man. But I think Tennessee does manage to get the win. Joe Milton's just who he is. He's a one-pitch pitcher. He's got a fastball. God love him. It's a good one. That's all he's got, though. He's not a guy that's going to read the defense. Not that you really have to read the defense in that offense anyway. But he's not going to elevate anybody. He's a one-pitch dude. So you are what you are right now, Tennessee. So I'm still on you this week, but let's, pump the brakes a little bit.
Well, I got my old handy-dandy David sunflower seeds right here. Tennessee, y'all just need to get ready for baseball season.
I was going to say, we're talking baseball?
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee might as well just go ahead and orange cap it up for the baseball season coming up. But I do, I'm going to say that Tennessee gets the win. Yeah,
okay.
I'll go with you.
Okay, Tennessee, we're both on the Vols.
Don't forget the sunflower seeds.
That's right. And some bubble gum. Got to have some bubble gum. All right, 7 p.m. Now, this game, I love this game. Love this game. Arkansas and LSU for the Golden Boot. Is there a better trophy? Yeah, there probably is. That one weighs 80 pounds. It's crazy. It's going to break your foot if it fell on it. But it's a beautiful trophy. I love this game. It always goes crazy. It seems like, there's some craziness that happens. When you look at it on paper, Arkansas just lost to flipping BYU. BYU's a good team, but Arkansas gave that game away.
I told you.
Yeah, you did. I know. Woo pig. And but LSU went out and did exactly the opposite. They played great last week. You know what I mean? So do we believe in what we saw from LSU? Are they going to be that same team? I mean, I still don't know about Rocket Sanders in this game for Arkansas. And they're having to travel also. I mean, I have to take LSU here. As much as I like the Razorbacks, just as, in general, I have to take LSU.
That's the smart pick. There's no doubt about that. It is the smart pick. They're playing 17.5 points to the line. LSU, they're giving up 7 o'clock game, though, in LSU. That seals the deal. You got to take the Tigers.
All right, I'll take a seat down.
Let's talk
now.
More
listen here, Gators Fred. If you've been around much, well, first off, thanks for being here. You're always welcome. I appreciate you being here. But I don't like them Gators. But we can hold hands and sing Kumbaya about Tennessee. So that is always welcome up in here. That is fine. A lot of people are on LSU with us, including our mom. What's up, Mom? Guys, do you think we ought to bring our mom on the show? She told my brother, you ought to bring me on. I could outpick both y'all's sorry selves. I was like, Mama? And she's like, yeah, I can do it. She's a trip, y'all. She's a trip. Y'all think she should be on the show sometime? Let us know.
Call the segment Granny Picks.
Granny Picks. There we go. We can go with that. That'd be good. Yeah. So we're both on LSU. Yeah. That'd be good. Oh, wait. We got to clarify. No need to slander. No need to slander. Go Dogs. Go Dogs. I'm with you, friend. Go Dogs. I don't mean to accuse you of being an awful Gator. There you go. Awesome. Fantastic. All right, so let's get on through these things. Charlotte, the Miners are headed down to take on the Gators in the Swamp. Joe, you got to think that Florida's going to take care of this one, right? I mean, there's no way they're going to face plant this thing after the big win.
No, Charlotte just I got to see or listen to Charlotte take on Georgia State University, as the WRBJradio.com is a Georgia State affiliate station.
That's right.
And they played Charlotte just this past week. And Charlotte can score. They can't stop anybody, but they can score. So
they look like Tennessee. Tennessee couldn't stop anybody.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where is Florida's defense going to look like Swiss cheese, or are they going to go out there and actually, try to tackle somebody? Who's to say? 28 points is the line for Florida. No, don't do that. I don't know. I like Charlotte, but I think Florida gets the win.
All right, you're on Florida too. Now, UAB Trent, the Fighting Trent Dilfers, who apparently is coming in here to Athens all starstruck from getting to come to an SEC night game. And hey, I'm not beating on him for that. SEC night games are a whole lot of fun, man. And I don't doubt him at all when he says there's a much better atmosphere than at any Super Bowl he's been to. That's why I prefer the college game. I prefer the college game for that very reason. So welcome in, Trent. Come and enjoy it. He was being complimentary to my dogs. He's like, we're going to use the Georgia tape as coaching tape the rest of the year to show my team how to play better complimentary football. And I'm like, oh, boy, Trent, come on now. But either way, this is not a good UAB team. Georgia gets this victory. The only question is, can they get out healthy? And, how sharp do they look in the process? So I'm hoping that we do get through this one healthy. We certainly can't take a lot more when it comes to injuries, so get through this one and let's try to look good doing it, fellas. That's my vote there.
Yeah, I think Georgia gets the win, but I don't want to see them get in a situation to where it's an embarrassing game in the first half. They need to come out and just be solid from the get-go. That's what I think Georgia needs to do. So.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown, and it's been that way forever, whether it was Florida or Alabama or Georgia. If you don't go out and win by 50 and you don't look pretty doing it, everybody's like, what's wrong with this team? Man, that's just football sometimes. It's just, you got to work it out. But that's fine. We've made our picks. I'm going to get off that soapbox. If you care, go check out the podcast. I'll talk all about it there. Okay, so Memphis. See, here's the thing. When Norvell, who's at Florida State now, was at Memphis, man, I love to watch Memphis. That's a fun team. I enjoy the city of Memphis. The Big Muddy River. Shoot, get me some catfish and some barbecue. Love me some Memphis. But here, I look up and see Joe with the decanter because we're picking Missouri.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely. I'm like,
I'm not going to beat the bush here anymore. I'm on Missouri to get to 4-0. No? You
will not happen. Will not happen.
Memphis?
Absolutely, I'm going to pick Memphis. It will not happen. Missouri will come in there with a high head, a puffed out chest, and they're going to get pimp slapped by the Missouri, by the Memphis, whoever they are. I don't know.
Tigers, man.
Yeah, the Tigers are going to hammer Missouri.
All right. If you say so. Hammer. He said, not beat. Hammer.
Cook. All right. Not going to do well. Memphis is going to get after them.
Listen, like I said, I like Memphis, but I do like Missouri's defense, and I think they've got more than one guy on the outside that can make a play. Missouri at home, I'm on you. Come on, Drink. Don't embarrass me. Don't embarrass me. I'm getting enough of that from other places. All right, 7:30 on the network. Mississippi State and South Carolina. Now, personally, I look at this game, I'm not too jazzed about it because, like I said, I had one envision of what the teams were going to be headed into the season. We've now seen some evidence of how they look on the field. And Mississippi State's hurting my feelings a little bit because of Will Rogers. They just don't look ready to go. He's not doing what he's used to doing. I'm afraid it's a lost season in Starkville. That's what I fear. And South Carolina, they know who they are. They've got some playmakers. They're at home at night. Has to be South Carolina for me. They have to get the W. If you ask these two fan bases, there's a lot to discuss in this game. You ask me, there's not a whole lot there. South Carolina should beat Mississippi State and get to 2-2 and 1-1 in the conference.
I agree. South Carolina at home, and it's going to be a nice atmosphere. It's going to be exciting, because they played well against Georgia. They didn't get the win, but they played well, and they're going to be fired up to get the first SEC win, and they will against the Bulldogs, Mississippi State, no doubt.
I think at this point, Mississippi State just need to show themselves better. You know what I mean? They really need a better performance than what they had last weekend. All right, so with that, let's move outside the footprint. I mean, well, we might still be in the footprint, but let's talk about some games that are not inside the conference right here, okay? Start with the early one in the day. Now, this one, listen, this whole episode's been like a theme for me because there's what we said in the preseason, you have stuff to evaluate, and then you have to make a choice, right? You don't have to be bound to a prediction, but that's what it is. It's a prediction of what you think is going to happen. Now we see some stuff. With all that said, Florida State looked really good against LSU. They looked physical. They looked aggressive. They looked well coached. Quarterback looked good. That wide receiver they paid, a bunch of money to bring down here, he looked good. Can't remember his name. Coleman, I think. Keon Coleman, maybe. So they look good. Then I watched them play against Boston College. And I understand, classic trap game, right? Come off the heels of a big win, got a big game in front of you, you're on the road, nobody's up there. I get it. But that is still dangerous because if you're a championship level team, then do you have those big ups and downs? You would hope not. They still got the win, though, so that says something. Then there's Clemson. Embarrassed themselves. Well, they didn't embarrass themselves. Duke whipped them to open the season. And then they played two tomato cans, Herb and Raj. So I know you have an affinity for the tomato cans. But we don't know who they are either. So I was on Clemson. I said Florida State has to beat Clemson before I can believe in them. And I think I'm going to have to stick to that for one more week. This is your chance, Florida State. Show me. Win the game that matters. Show me. I think I have to be on Clemson this weekend. Zero confidence in the pick, but I am going to stick to it. Show me, Florida State. If you win, we'll have a new discussion on the other side. But for right now, I'm going to take Clemson. Hopefully their defense can play better, maybe make a play, on defense to score, something like that. I'm reaching here, but I'm on the Tigers.
Well, I can appreciate that pick because I was thinking about Clemson, and you see the line there, FSU -2, and I think it's going to be a game that is relatively close, going through it all. But if you were to talk to my boy Jeff Cameron down at warchant.com, you can find it. You can find it as his show on our website for our station, WRBJradio.com. Jeff does a great show down there. And I believe in old Jeff. He owes me a spear from Florida State. Woo! And I'm going to call in the name of Jeff Cameron and the spear that he owes me for Florida State to beat Clemson in a close one in South Carolina. So that's what I think is going to happen.
All right. You're on the Knowles. That's fine. Fair enough. I'll tell you what, man.
Close.
Golly, I don't even know, man.
I think the line's true in this one. I do. I think the line's true in this one. It's going to be close.
Just that close?
Yeah.
If Clemson wins the game, though, everybody in the country is going to be like, "Oh my God!" And they're going to think, and nobody's going to know what to do with that because all of a sudden Clemson comes off the heap and they get a win over a top 5 team. It's going to just throw everything just out the window. So, all right, splitting there. Somebody's got to win this thing. I appreciate it. All right. And then if we scroll on down, listen, I hate myself for doing it. Did you see my tweet today, Joe? I have breaking news. I have not seen it. Oh, I have breaking news. Deion Sanders is coaching his team to get a full 10 yards for a first down to keep the offense on the field. Joe, it's coaching like that that's revolutionizing the game. Complete game changer. Every coach across the country is going to be telling their guys they got to get a full 10 yards for a first down.
Yeah, they're going to pick that up. I have a feeling that's going to catch on.
Really God, do. I don't want to do it. I don't want to pick this game. But we're going to do it. We're going to pick it because friggin' I like Oregon and there's a Georgia tie there. and Colorado's traveling out to take on the Ducks. Joe, who you got?
Well, that ain't a far travel, man. That ain't a long way to go. You know, Colorado has been in a dream season so far this year. Everything has gone the way they want it to. I'm a little concerned that they're banged up and their interior front is going to suffer against Oregon.
No.
That's exactly right. I mean, it was cheap shots, but my boy Travis got beat up a little bit last week, and that was dirty. That was dirty pool, by the way. Colorado State hitting somebody like that when the ball's already on the ground. That's cheap. But Bush League is what we'd say about that. Yeah, that's exactly right. And, you know, just because I think it's prime time, it's 3:30. It's not really prime time.
Oh, Joe, you owe him some money.
I'm going to pick Oregon.
You owe him some money. You know, he just trademarked those terms.
He trademarked prime time?
He trademarked like 5 different phrases today. Yep, something like that. Prime effect, something like that. Every time we say it, we owe him money, apparently.
Send me a bill, Dion.
That's what I'm saying. Find me, dog. Find me. All right.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Oregon, too, though.
All right, so we're both on the Ducks. We got the Fighting Lannings. I do like Oregon, though, for real. I do. I'm counting on Oregon to take care of my USC problem. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so let's scroll on down here through the top 25. We're not going too far afield this week. We're going to keep it close. We're going to pick the games here in the top 25, not digging out any of those regional games necessarily this week. There's a fun one happening up there on the Palouse, Washington State and Oregon State. Joe, who you got?
Washington State and Oregon State?
Yeah, the Palouse, man.
Man, I don't even know if those people play football. I was always surprised when I'm scrolling through the TV and I'm like, what? Oregon State? Washington State? They still have what happened to Ryan Leaf? They still have a football team? I don't know. Golly, let's see. I hadn't given any thought, zero thought.
That's all right.
To this game.
That's all right.
Let's see. Oregon stinks. Oregon State's ranked 14. The line is 3. Washington State's at home.
I like it when I got you on the move. Caught you on the move. God. You don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Beavers. I'll take the Beavers. Go ahead.
All right. Smart man. I do like what the Cougar. I mean, you know, I always kind of root for the Cougars, the Fighting Minshew's. You remember Minshew, the quarterback up there? Remember him? There you go. I always.
Is he still a Jaguar?
I think he's with the Colts. Maybe. Does that sound right? Y'all help me. I think he's with the Colts. I'm on Oregon State too. DJ Uangalele. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm on those Beavers up there. I think they go on the road, get the win, and that sort of helps sort out what's going on out there in the pack. All right, so let's keep it moving. We don't have all night here. We got to get through this thing. This is probably the game. Joe's tilting the decanter, y'all. Drink them if you got them. That's what we're saying. Drink them if you got them. Ohio State and Notre Dame. Ohio State. This is one of those, man, I don't want to pick it, right? But it is interesting. It's one of the biggest games early in the year. It's absolutely going to have ramifications on the playoff. We have to pick it. What kind of pick show would it be if we don't pick it? So here's the thing.
All right.
Ohio State's quarterback, they figured out who it is, starting to throw the ball down the field. The running game's okay. The defense looks better. Notre Dame quarterback play has been outstanding. Running game has been wonderful. I don't know how much confidence I have in this one. At the end of the day, Ohio State. That's where I'm at. Ohio State. I think Sam Hartman at Notre Dame has every opportunity to just stick his middle finger up at me. I have zero confidence in this pick, but I'm on Ohio State.
Yeah, well, 2 things here that I can grade this pick off of. One is I flipped my old trusty golf coin here.
Yeah.
And it landed heads up, so that gives me confidence in what I'm about to say next.
Okay.
And number 2 is I would rather drink a gallon of castor oil than I would pick Notre Dame. So I will pick Ohio State because I will not pick Notre Dame.
Why'd you have to go with that vomit callback? Oh, my God. Anybody else in the chat know what he's talking about? Holy cow, y'all. That's awful. See, here's the thing.
Castor oil. That's bad stuff.
Sam Hartman.
I will not pick Notre Dame.
Well, that's fine, and I might talk myself into picking, Notre Dame right here. I don't know. Sam Hartman has been really, really good. He's got so much more experience than whoever it is that Ohio State's trotting out there. The run game at home, the defense has been pretty good. But man, I can't buy into Notre Dame. Again, zero faith. I'm gonna stick with the Buckeyes. That's where I'm at. Not gonna go back and forth right there. That's where we are. And that's it. That's the end of our pick'em section, y'all. We made it all the way through. How do y'all think we did? Anybody? I mean, I enjoyed seeing y'all in the chat over here. Scotty's letting me know. He's like, my man said, pimp a slapped.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Memphis.
That's right. He said pimp slapped. I told you, man. We're having a good time over here. And we're having more fun because y'all are over here with us. See, now, getting back in the chat here, Harry's letting us know, and I think he's talking about that Oregon State, Washington State game right here. This is going to be a knife fight in a dark alley somewhere. I think he's right. I feel like Oregon State, I watched them play earlier this year. I like what they have at running back. I just think that, overall, the team is going to pull that win out. I don't think it's going to be one person, but I am on those. Here we go. Harry's letting us know. Very useful.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't say it wasn't useful, Harry. I said, don't try to give it to me. That's what I said. Oh, man.
Stick with the brown water. Stick with the brown water. Don't need that clear.
That is a memory I will never, ever, ever shake. That's how you know something matters, right? If you can't let it go. Oh, my word.
Well, I'll tell you what, it is. I'm curious to hear how we did last week, by the way. Curious to hear how we did last week.
Well, you're going to hate me because I didn't get the count done. So what y'all going to have to do, what y'all are going to have to do is, if you really want to know, I'll do the count. I'll post it on my Twitter account. Okay. So if you're not following me, it's @ADamnBeast on Twitter. You want to follow along, follow me on Twitter. I'll post it on Facebook. I'll let it know the weekly after week 3. I'll let you know where we stand. So sorry. I've been busy.
Man. It's dirty right there.
It ain't dirty, dog. I was out, like I said, I was with my girls. I just didn't get it done. What are you going to do? I will not fail you next week. I will have a count next week. That's what I can promise you.
You just don't want to say you gave up that 3-game lead. That's all. You just don't want to say it.
Hey, now. Hey, now. Now, while we got it here on screen share, I just want to remind everybody, you're here with us now on YouTube, or maybe you're watching on Facebook. But do yourself a favor. Go on over to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel, because that's where we do all kinds of fun stuff. Everything I'm doing, you can find it on the community page. And you can catch up on all the podcast episodes, all the individual one-off videos, all the short-form content we do. It almost all of it lives right there. And there's a new poll up on the community page today, too. And if you really like what we're doing, I've made it super simple. One of the best ways to support the channel is now you can become a member of the YouTube channel for as little as $1, right? I mean, for everything that you're getting, I think that's a pretty good deal. But more than that, I appreciate everything you do to support me, this channel, this show. The same thing for Joe. You guys are in here with us. It means the world, and that is the truth, absolutely. Because if we weren't talking to you guys, we would just be here, talking to each other. And that's fun, but, it's more fun when we get the perspective from you guys outside the box here. So thank you for that. I just wanted to float that out there as a reminder. Check us out. Lots of good stuff over there.
Yeah. And don't forget, if you want to hear to get a little closer to game time, maybe you want to say, who would those Rascals pick, to get a little closer to game time, you can always tune over to WRBJradio.com on Saturday mornings at about 10:30, and you'll hear the replay of this show on WRBJradio.com just after our Saturday Hounds episode. So be sure and check that out. And don't forget, you can go to WRBJradio.com, and you can look at the Trophy Smack link that is there. So see you later, man. You can look at that Trophy Smack link there, and you could choose a prize for us or yourself, but be sure and do it right there at WRBJradio.com on the Trophy Smack link. You can choose whatever you want to fill your trophy case for this fantasy or football season, whatever you see it to be best fitting for it. Don't forget also to check out our friends at Eyeballs Marketing and Media at WRBJradio.com. If you need banners, if you need logos put on something, you can get it put on just about anything you can envision putting a logo on at Eyeballs Marketing and Media. We appreciate them being our studio sponsor at WRBJradio.com.
Now, Joe he got all that spit out, and I just want to tell you, he's right. If you missed any part of this show, please check it out on YouTube. It's going to be up there, or hit us up on, like you said, WRBJradio.com, the exclusive home to all of Dan Beast Media Productions. You can catch the podcast there on Saturday mornings before the games begin. You can also catch our picks for the week. In case you forget who we picked, check us out. You can get it on your phone, on an app, wherever you are. Check it out. It's an easy listen, and you can listen to our voices do this even more. Joe, you got anything? Do you have any final shots, any parting shots before we send the people off into the good night and a happy weekend?
Go UNLV. And all my Tennessee fans, shake them up, baby. Shake them up, Tennessee. Shake them up.
Oh, my gosh. Clark Lee, we're done. We're done, Clark Lee. And it sounds like Joe's done with Notre Dame. So we know who Joe's going to pick the rest of the way with all that's good. All right, everybody, thanks for being here. We appreciate it. We had a good time. Yeah. We will see y'all again next week. Until next time, go Dogs.